Hey guys, my name's Crystal Kenny, and I'm in love with creating. All things artistic and imagination involved. I'm an American girl who chased her creative dreams all the way to Paris, France, making a living using photography. This podcast takes you inside the stories of all the artsy folks I've met along the way and gives you that extra push to discover your creative gifts. The desire to create is deeply inside each and every one of us, and I give you the tools and inspiration to find a new way of living a more creative life. This is La Vie Creative, the podcast. My guest today is a Jamaican living in Paris, France. She's written many collections of short stories, novels, and worked in journalism for many years. She talks a little bit today about how she overcame her fears of sharing her work and what it's like to be a writer as a full-time job. Please welcome to the show, Alecia McKenzie. So welcome to the show, Alecia. I'm so excited to have you here. You've written many short stories, many books. You've been very busy. You've been in Paris for 12 years now. You are Jamaican. I've never met a Jamaican in Paris, honestly. So I'm very curious about, what you think of the French and living there and your writing. So let's jump right in. What brought you to France?
Well, thanks so much for having me, Crystal. It's a pleasure to be here. So we are a small community of Jamaicans in France. In fact, we have a couple of organizations, Jamaicans in Paris, and we get together and we have an annual picnic and so forth. But what brought me to Paris? So work really, and my family's in general, the work we both do. We're both my husband and I. We're both journalists and writers.
Oh, nice!
And so that's how we came to Paris. We came for work.
What made you decide Paris? Like, why Paris?
Well, there was. Paris, because that's where the job
the work was.
That's where the work was. Yes,
that's so nice. What a great way to come. I mean, Jamaica is so different from Paris. So, how was it when you first arrived? Did you like it immediately, or were you kind of, whoa, this is different?
Well, we didn't come from Jamaica. We were living in Singapore before.
Oh, nice.
And we had lived in Europe before, so it wasn't totally new. I hadn't spent much time in France before moving here, but we just, it was a good fit, let's say. And we've always talked about Paris. It's a city that we like. We met in New York, and so have sort of traveled around working. And Paris, this is where we are now.
You have a very international relationship.
Like you.
Yeah. We like international. And you've written several short stories and books. And I'm curious, how did you get into writing? Is it something you just always felt close to, or did you study it in school? What brought you into writing?
Well, I started writing as a child. I was a very shy child, as you probably can hear from this interview.
Oh, no.
I'm still a very shy person in general. But so I read a lot as a child, as most shy children do, I think. You draw or you read, and developed a great love of books. My mom was a great storyteller. My sister loved books, and she passed down her old copies to me. So I grew up reading a lot, and then started writing little poems. And it grew from there. I wrote poems, wrote poetry throughout high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then studied journalism and languages at university, and things developed from there.
So you found your voice, it sounds like, for being a shy child.
Well, I mean, you can't go through life sort of
as a
hiding.
mute.
Writing sometimes is a great way to hide. You're hiding behind the words, but nowadays you have to be out there reading your work. And doing the promotion and so forth. So there's really no space to hide anymore.
Yes, especially with the internet, like you said, you cannot hide.
Exactly.
You have to read it. I can completely relate to you on the shy child side. I was very shy. I had like no friends. I lived in the library. I was terrified to talk to anybody, and books were my friends. And I love reading still today. And I think that's very true for a lot of shy children. We live in the heads of others, you could say, because that's what reading's all about, right?
Right, exactly. You put it so well.
I found my voice. And do you feel that writing was kind of a form of therapy for you as a shy child? It kind of helped you to, grow up.
I think so. I think especially with the first book, which was a collection of short stories titled Satellite City. I think that book was very therapeutic. I mean, I wasn't writing about myself per se, but sort of pulling from my childhood experiences. So in that sense, I think it was kind of cathartic.
And was it hard to share that? Were you scared to put that out into the world?
I think as a writer, you're always scared. There's one writer who said that publishing a book or getting your book published is like stepping out in public with your underwear on, and and I think that remains true. You're putting yourself out there, and you never know how people will accept your work. Will people be interested? Will the critics be kind? So it's always it's always a risk,
And how did you conquer those fears? What did you do to kind of push past that?
I haven't conquered them. They're still there.
They're still there. Very much so.
Yes.
But you just kind of ignore the critics. Like, how do you deal with criticism?
I think I take criticism on board because I don't really think people criticize your work in general to be mean. And so you have to learn from the criticism.
Yeah.
I have family members who will read the work first and who will give me feedback, and they can be quite blunt in their criticism. So that helps.
Yeah. It's good to have the feedback to grow.
Exactly. It's so important, actually.
And I think it's a little easier coming from family because they're doing what's best for you, that they love you.
Right. Sometimes I think if if your work is being read by someone who, let's say, is a friend, that person might be a little bit hesitant to give you really, let's say, frank feedback.
Yeah.
Some people don't want to hurt your feelings, so it's always good to have somebody who can be totally honest.
Yeah. I think that sometimes you do get what we call the online trolls, on the internet, because they're hiding behind a computer and they feel like they could say anything to you because you'll never meet them. And that kind of like just mean-spirited feedback, maybe we can just ignore if it's not constructive.
Yes. I saw something just today, in fact, on Twitter. A writer was saying that she avoids certain websites because people take too much pleasure in being negative about writers' work. So she has cut that out. And I think it's, for your mental health and your overall well-being. Sometimes it's good to just ignore that.
Do you feel that confidence is a muscle that needs to be worked and you make it stronger each time you put yourself out there? Does it feel a little easier each time?
I don't think so. I don't think it feels easier. I think it gets harder, actually.
Really?
Because when I started out, I had no idea what the industry was like, what the publishing world was like. You just sent off this manuscript and the publisher says, yes, we'd like to publish this. And you just take it in stride. Now you're more aware of all the ways you can fail. I think.
It's scary.
So I don't think that it gets any easier.
Yeah. You just have to keep going because you love doing it.
Exactly. That's it. Yes.
It's like an abusive relationship.
Putting it a bit strongly, but it is. It can seem sometimes like it's you have you well you kind of regard it as a gift, this gift of
Yeah.
writing, and your artistic gift.
Yeah.
But sometimes it can seem like it's also I wouldn't say a curse, but
Hmm.
just it's just something that you have to carry.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's both a gift and something of a burden.
Yeah. A gift and a curse.
Yes, so
And do you believe that we all have creative gifts inside us?
I think so. I think so. I mean, I haven't met anyone I think who doesn't have some kind of creative urge,
Hmm.
and that
Hmm.
can take different forms, whether
Yeah.
it's cooking or sewing, painting. There's so many
Yeah.
ways of being creative.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the streamlined way because a lot of times people think, oh, painter, photographer, writer, but there can be something in just like creating a computer program or something,
Right.
kind of abstract. We're creating something new.
Yes, yes. No, I completely agree with that.
And where
Um,
do you get the ideas for your stories?
I think in general, as I said, with the first book, I drew a lot on childhood experiences and,
Hmm.
growing up in Jamaica, growing up in the Caribbean. Um,
Yeah.
Now it's more, so there's some research involved, but often it's just what's going on, I think. Sometimes I wake up and there is a voice.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
go on about hearing voices, but sometimes you wake up with the kernel of a story, and then it goes from there. Sometimes it's just a line that occurs to you. You write
Hmm.
that down, and a story develops from that. Often, something occurs to me, and once I start writing, then the story takes on a life of its own. You know,
So
and
do you know the ending to your story when you start, or like you said, it just takes a life of its own? You don't know where it's taking you.
I don't never know where it's taking me,
Ah, I
because
like
I'm
that.
not the kind of writer who plans and maps out everything.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
have a general idea of the story or the novel, and once I start writing, I sort of let the characters do their own thing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Does it kind of surprise you sometimes the way the characters come to life? Like, who is that? Are you drawing from people from your life, or they just come out of nowhere sometimes?
That one is difficult because sometimes people read a story and they'll say, "Oh, is that based on someone?" And maybe
Hmm.
subconsciously it is based on someone. You're not
Yeah.
quite sure, But once you
Hmm.
put this thing, well, not on paper. I mean, sometimes I do write in longhand and then transfer things to the computer. But once you start writing, it becomes something else.
Hmm.
If you see
Hmm.
what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a life of its own almost.
Yeah.
And you don't know where it's coming from. And you're definitely not alone with the voices. Don't worry, you are not a schizophrenic. Because all of my guests have talked about, we call them the whispers, like someone saying, okay, this is what you need to do. It just kind of comes out of nowhere. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we ignore the little voice. And I've talked to my other guests, I'm like, how do you tell the difference between that little voice who's kind of like your creative spirit and your ego who's like so mean to you all the time? Sometimes
It
it's hard to get the difference.
it is, and often it's a curious thing. And when I do writing courses, I tell my students this that sometimes it's good to have just a pen and a notebook next to your bed because the strangest things occur to you in the middle of the night,
Yeah.
and if you don't write them down, the next morning they're gone.
Mhm,
And I
mhm.
find that
Yeah.
if I ignore these things that occur to me, whether a character enters my head and says, "Okay, I'm doing
Yeah.
this," uh, yeah, the next day these things they have disappeared. So
Mhm.
it's important to really sort of what's the word I'm looking for, uh, to put that when something occurs to you to act upon it.
Yes, yes. Because it's not gonna be around forever.
Right.
And do you have exercises you do to get into your writing flow state? Do you meditate? Do you take a walk? Or is there anything you do before you start writing?
I think walking helps. I love to walk, and Paris is a great city for walkers. So
Hmm.
I think walking helps.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm walking, the ideas become clearer.
Yeah.
But that's the extent of what I do.
Yeah, I think a reoccurring theme on this show is that people need to kind of bore themselves, like be bored, because that's when the great ideas come, not when we're staring at
Right.
our phone screens or the TV. You got to make space for the ideas.
Yes, that is true. That is true. I,
And you've won several awards. I was looking at your website, and I'm curious, based on, your writing and your success and your teaching, what do you think makes for great writing?
oh, that's that's a tough question. I think you have to tell a good story.
Hmm.
So that is number one. You have to have engaging, credible characters. I mean, there are all these different things, the tone.
Hmm.
When I teach this, it comes easily. But now you've put this question to me.
Put you on the spot.
But yeah, I think the story has to engage the reader. You
Hmm.
have to somehow get the reader to keep reading. So,
Yeah.
interesting plot, interesting characters,
Hmm.
credibility. And you can set a story on the moon and it can still be credible. It's just in the telling,
Yeah.
the form of telling the story. These are all things that you think about, or you that you do without thinking about them actually.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
when you need to theorize about it, then you say, okay, this is uh, the characters. Are they well rounded? Are they consistent?
Yeah.
Is the story believable? All those things. I mean, you can break a story down into these different
The
things.
pieces. Yeah,
Yeah.
the pieces. Because it's funny how humans in general, we can tell when someone's not being genuine or not. It's like we have like that meter in our brains that are like, okay,
Right.
this is
Yes.
not right. And it's even if I know nothing about you, if we read the words, we're like, ah, no, that wasn't true. They're not feeling
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
strange how we can do that as humans. I'd love to explore that more, especially in writing. You find that. And what was the most surprising part of writing for you?
I, I, uh, I don't think anything about writing has really surprised me.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what is surprising is how the publishing world has
Works.
perhaps changed since I started
Uh-huh.
out.
Uh-huh.
There
Uh-huh.
is so much promotion to be done now.
Yeah.
Um, it's very hard to get published for one thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I remember starting out and just sending a manuscript off, not thinking, that, well, I thought if it got rejected, I'm sure it would get published eventually. But now
Hmm.
there's no such certainty, I think.
Why do you think that's changed? There's just way more people submitting now?
I think way more people are writing, and
Hmm.
also publishing, especially this year, has faced some challenges.
Yeah.
Perhaps fewer people are buying books. Although I've read that this year more people have bought books. Being on
Hmm.
the lockdown, it seems that more people are reading. But
Yeah. Yeah.
overall, it's been very difficult for independent publishers, and
Hmm.
this is something I you know, would like to perhaps draw attention to, that independent publishers need our support.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to lose them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And how has France influenced your work?
I think being in Paris is such a stimulating experience. Uh,
Hmm.
and there are two sides to that, because it's so stimulating that sometimes you spend more time out and about doing things rather than writing. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much going on all the time.
Yes.
So many exhibitions, so many demonstrations. So
Yes. Oh my goodness. This year, especially.
yes, it's just been yeah, it really stimulates you, but you have to watch out that it doesn't keep you from doing your work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and for I also do journalism. So,
Hmm.
being in a city like that is very inspiring from that point of view. There's just so much to report on.
Yeah. I mean, there's always something to talk about in Paris. It's crazy between,
Mm.
like you said, the protests and I mean, now the pandemic, it's just been this last year has been a wild ride. I thought 2020
Yes,
was going to be a great year. I'm like, ah.
yes, yeah. Nobody could have predicted this.
No, I would never think travel would come to a complete and utter stop.
Yes,
And I love what you said about Paris being stimulated because that's exactly how I feel. If I could describe Paris in one word, it would be stimulation. It
right.
really keeps you on your toes. There's always an event to go to. There's always something to look at, to feel nurtured, to feel alive.
Hmm.
And like you said, at the other side, you have to be careful because you can be overstimulated. You can exhaust yourself.
Right.
So you have to kind of find your own balance there.
Yes, yeah. And the thing about Paris too is that it's stimulating across so many sectors,
Hmm.
whether it's just visual arts, whether it's fashion, whether it's music, whether it's food.
Yeah.
There are just so many sectors where just things are happening nonstop.
It's so true. I always call it Never Never Land for adults, like in Peter Pan, because you don't want to leave. You're having too much fun.
Right, right. But
No
it
growing
can be
up.
exhausting.
Yes, yes, and which is why it's also important to take a break in Brittany for the weekend and get back to nature because I think we need balance
Yes.
always. And how do you keep yourself motivated and interested in your work?
I think it's such a gift to have something that you enjoy doing.
Hmm.
That in itself is a motivation
Yeah.
to keep going because I think we've all had jobs where you know that have just sort of drained our
Hmm.
our souls. Um,
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
yeah, and to do something that you enjoy doing that brings you joy, I think
Hmm.
that's a great motivation to keep going. I remember
Yeah.
when I was a student in New York, I needed to earn uh, an income, and
Hmm.
I had a job for a while in a lingerie store. So I think somewhere off Broadway, and you know, it was interesting just working for a while in a place like that and having people come in and ask for certain garments.
Yeah.
You just know, okay, well, this is not something I want to be doing for the rest of
Yeah.
my
Oh
life.
gosh. That's a nightmare. New York laundry, not the ideal job. So it makes you appreciate what you're doing now more because we've all had those kind of crap jobs.
Yes, yeah.
Do you have advice for others who are trying to discover their creative talents?
I think the main thing is to just keep at doing whatever you enjoy doing. So
Hmm.
whatever brings you joy, keep at it.
Yeah.
Um, Despite the odds, despite the obstacles. Uh,
Yeah.
it's um, it's very important to have that.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. I think that just showing up is enough. And even if you don't make a living at it, like you said, it's about joy, it's about feelings.
Right. And this is so important nowadays.
Yeah, we get sucked up in our screens and the internet. And I think a lot of numbing is going on in today's
Yes.
society,
Mm-hmm. Yes.
which is why I'm such a huge advocate for the arts, because I think that is where all the feeling is.
Yeah, and even if it's just think about the joy you feel, if that's the right word to use, when you pass a street musician who is so good. And I've had that experience several times. You're you're just walking by and somebody's playing a beautiful piece of music, and just that feeling that you get, it's and I think we need that. We need the arts as much as we need the sciences, and vice versa. And so, it's
taking those little pieces. Those little pieces of joy that you get from, they may not even know that you were listening or that you felt anything, but it's a way of connecting without words in a way.
Yes. And it's, from looking at a painting as well.
Yeah. I'm still working on my feelings from paintings. I get it more from photos or writing or music. I know some people, they look at paintings and they get so emotional, but for me, I think I'm more a musical person. I bring a lot of joy from that.
Yeah.
And do you have any future projects you're excited about?
Well, I've been working on a novel, and so the publisher, who is in the Caribbean, yesterday revealed the cover. So that's exciting.
Congratulations! That's huge.
Yeah, thank you. And so I'm just very thankful to, as I mentioned, independent publishers who take a chance on books, and who are facing challenges like everyone during this time. So we have to support these sectors.
And do you know when the book will be out?
We hope by the end of the year.
Great. Oh, that's exciting. And what's it about? Can you tell us?
Well, it's too early.
Okay. Secret. Keep an eye on your social media.
Yes.
And where can people find you online?
So I am on Twitter.
Okay.
At McKenzie_ALE. So, right, you can find me there. And I'm not on Instagram very much, but I think, I'm somewhat active on Twitter. And of course, there's my website as well.
Sure. I'll share that information in the show notes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for chatting with me today. And it was really cool to get to know a Jamaican in Paris, because you're my first.
It's a different sound, or an American.
I mean, obviously you have a little accent, and I love it.
Isn't there a book called An American in Paris?
Oh yeah, there's a play, there's a film. There's a lot of Americans in Paris. There's 30,000 Americans in Paris.
Right.
And we have a lot of stuff. We got the library, we have a Chamber of Commerce, we got all the stuff. But it was so sweet to talk to you today, Alecia, and I hope you have a great day. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about the new book.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for tuning in to La Vie Creative. You can find more information on MissParisPhoto.com. And if you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word for all my creative guests. We have the power to help them to keep doing what they love. See you next time.